everyone, and welcome to Girl Listen, the mini podcast. I'm your host, KJ, and thank you so much for being here with me today. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing my personal experience with anxiety, but I am not a mental health professional. This episode is not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. If you are struggling with anxiety or any mental health concerns, please reach out to a licensed professional who can provide support tailored specifically to you. Remember, you are not alone and help is available. So again, welcome to Girl Listen and thank you for being here. So let's get real about anxiety, y'all. This is definitely a topic that I feel like we don't talk about a lot, but it is becoming a more popular topic. And when I say we, I'm really specifically talking about the Black community, and especially when it comes to Black women. We experience a lot of anxiety. I know I've experienced a lot of anxiety, and I'm definitely gonna share that with you all, but we really don't talk about it as openly as I feel like we should. And I figured, why not share my experience, I think the first thing I really want to talk about and say is it's okay to admit and acknowledge that you have something going on, right? Being a Black woman, we have this perception of, oh, we always have to be strong and we have to be put together, and we're the ones that people look to go and help someone else and check on the next person and give them that grace and build them back up. But who's there to do that for us, right? And I can't even remember when I first realized or knew that I had anxiety, but as long as I can remember, I always can remember the feeling of being anxious and just things making me more nervous and feeling more uneasy than I felt like I should, right? And for a lot of things that I do in life, it would be very shocking to a lot of people who don't know me for them to be like, wait, you have anxiety? And it's like, yes. For a long time, I thought I was just shy. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just shy. I don't really like attention. I prefer not to be in the limelight or in the spotlight. Like, I'm very okay being in the background. That was just my perception of who I was. And it wasn't until I started getting older, and honestly, I'm going to be very truthful, it wasn't until I graduated from college. And I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I said, girl, you are an adult. You cannot keep telling people that you are shy. You got to figure something out. But instead of acknowledging what I was feeling and what I was going through that made me feel like I was shy, I just made myself push through that feeling of being super uncomfortable and just really overwhelmed and feeling uneasy. I, for some reason, would always put myself in positions where I had to be a people person. I would have jobs that were people facing, that were super involved. I would, do different events that were super people facing, super involved. I joined a Greek lettered organization, which is very people facing, super involved. And in all of those moments, of course, I was feeling this anxiety and this anxiousness just about, oh my gosh, people are watching me. Or at least that's what I thought my anxiety was about. But I forced myself to push through it. I forced myself to say, no, you're an adult. You're not shy. Get it together. I was just making myself push through. And I, in a lot of instances, would get a lot of the symptoms of anxiety. So my heart would be racing. I would feel panicked, but I just would, breathe through it. I would talk to myself in my head. And I would just, at the end of the day, it's either you're going to do this or you're going to get up here and you're going to be completely quiet and you're going to embarrass yourself. So I made myself do it. And what made me fight through all those moments, I vividly remember being a little kid and I had an Easter speech. I have not had an Easter speech since this day, but I had an Easter speech. And I got up. I practiced. I really did. I practiced at home. I remembered the speech. I got up, and when I looked at the crowd of people just staring at me, and they had the most beautiful smiles. It was a very warm, welcoming environment, but I just felt so overwhelmed. It's like my body and my brain disconnected, and I just didn't know how to do anything. So my older cousin actually ended up coming up and saying my speech for me. So thankful for her in that moment. And then we went and sat down. And every time I have to speak in front of people, every time I have to present, every time I have to, put on that brave face that I was putting on, I always remembered that moment. And I was like, girl, you do not want this to be your Easter speech all over again. So if that wasn't something that was engraved in my memory, I don't know how I would have made it through a lot of those moments. But I thought I was, right? I thought I was doing all of the things. And so I built up this strong woman facade. I was like, okay, no, I got this. I'm confident I can do it. And, I've had so many people even be shocked when I tell them like I'm shy, and they're like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. And I realized I actually wasn't. Like, no, I'm not shy. So I'm going through life still dealing with whatever I consider this adult shyness, right? And eventually, I guess my body said, okay, so you're not responding to the normal signs that something is wrong and you need to, remove yourself and calm down. So let's spice it up a little bit. So it's been years, honestly, probably 10 at least, where I would have these really random allergic reactions. And I didn't know how to explain it to anyone because it didn't make sense to me, right? But I would be taking a walk and my legs would literally start itching and tingling and like have this numb feeling. And I'm like, what is going on with my body? And it would just gradually move up my legs to the point where I would have to stop what I was doing and sit down and wait for it to go away. And if I started scratching, I'd start whelping up in hives. Of course, that made me nervous. It made me more anxious. It made me more panicky. And after it happened for a few times, I realized, okay, the more I panic, the worse it gets. So I had to find ways to calm myself down. So I would breathe through it. I started practicing like deep breathing exercises when this would happen. And I would just tell myself, you're okay, calm down, you're fine. And it would work. And I would be able to get myself to a place where I could at least get, to somewhere where I could sit down and relax, right? And so this happened for years. It happened when I was walking. It happened when I would be exercising. Sometimes it would happen with random foods, like I would be eating something and I would have a random reaction to it. I also was having random reactions to cold temperatures, so I couldn't hold anything cold. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I've never really been allergic to anything. I've never had food allergies. So what is this? And so, of course, I'm deep diving on the internet. I'm going to doctors. I'm explaining to them what's going on. And I just keep getting told, I'm fine, I'm healthy. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm healthy-ish, but this is clearly an issue, and I'm coming to figure out what's going on with my body. When I would work out, I would be in excruciating pain, again, to the point where I would have to relax, and I would have to take a break for a few days and just give my body that time to sit. And I'm like, gosh, what's going on? So again, talking to doctors, I'm explaining what's happening, and everybody's like, well, you're fine. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm fine, and I just have to figure out what else I can do about this. So I began just modifying my lifestyle around what was happening to me. So if I knew that I couldn't go on a long walk, or I knew that this was happening, I would, if I had to walk somewhere, I would drive, even if it was close, or I just wouldn't go. Or if I was going to go to the gym, I would try to do something super light. And once I felt the itching coming on, I would stop, I would go home. Realizing that it was resembling an allergic reaction, I started taking allergy medicine, so like Allegra. And I noticed that did help. So it stopped the histamine reactions that I was having. So it's like, okay, if I know I have like a really active day, I'm going to go take an Allegra so I don't start itching. And I'm still not going to overdo it, but at least now I know I can walk from point A to point B. Like I can get a good half a mile in and not feel this itching pain. I can go to the gym, I can work out and not feel the itching and pain, right? So I did that. And it was a way to help me manage. I was doing well, I was making it work, but I still was just like, something is not right. Like, what is this? I even found some like natural antihistamines, vitamins that I could take that would help me so I wouldn't have to take Allegra all the time. And that was working. But even still, I didn't know what was going on, right? So it wasn't until I had someone ask me one time, like, why do you react the way you do to certain things? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I was like, if you could give me an example of like a time where I reacted a certain way, I could probably tell you what triggered that response. And they were like, no, like, I don't understand your emotions and your feelings. And I was like, well, surprise, I don't either. And when I said that, and then I sat back and reflected on it, I was like, wait, I really don't understand my feelings and emotions when it comes to the way I react and respond to things. Or if I'm in a situation and I don't know how to respond, I knew that my natural reaction would just be like, I don't know. And then I would shut down. And I'd be like, that would just be my answer. I don't know. Because I really didn't. I didn't know what was going on in my mind. I didn't really know how to express exactly what I was feeling. I just felt really overwhelmed. And in those moments, my thing was to retreat. When that fight or flight kicked in, yeah, we're going to fly. So I was like, well, maybe I should talk to someone. I've thought about therapy a few different times in my life, but I never actually went. And then, of course, through school and different classes that I took, I learned a lot of different methods to kind of help yourself. And so I tried journaling. I, of course, lean into my art for relaxation and calming purposes. And one thing that I really enjoyed to relieve my stress was working out. But like I mentioned earlier, that was something that was causing me to have these allergic reactions. And so I'm like, well, I can't work out too much to relieve my stress because that's just going to put me in an even more high stress situation because now I'm panicking because I don't know what's going on with my body. So I felt like I was running out of options. I was running out of ways to help myself. And I said, you know what? I don't have to do this all by myself. So I started looking for therapists and I found one. I went to my first appointment. We talked about what I felt like I needed, what I was going through, what I was dealing with, and decided, okay, yeah, let's do therapy. Let's meet, let's talk, let's see if this helps. And so through therapy, I was able to get a better understanding of not only what I was feeling, but why I was feeling it and why I was responding the way I responded to a lot of things in my life. So that kind of unlocked something in me to say, oh, okay, so this is why I feel this way. And this is why I responded to it. And so, just working through some of those things and working through some more personal things that I thought I had handled and healed from really did allow me a space to become, one, the introspective person that I thought I was, because I just knew I was self-aware and that I knew what was going on with myself. And I was just like, oh yeah, girl, you got it. And while I did know some of the things that were going on with me, because I didn't have an understanding of those things, I wasn't really fixing them. I was just like, okay, yeah, this makes me upset. I'm aware of that, so that should be enough. And it wasn't. So I was working with my therapist and I was like, great, okay, we're getting better. I was still having these health issues, but I was like, well, therapy isn't going to fix everything in one session. In my last episode, we talked about the fact that healing is not necessarily a destination, but a journey. So it's not like I'm going to be waking up one morning and like, oh, I'm healed, I'm perfect, everything is fine. So I allowed myself the grace and the space to just process, to trust the process, and to go through therapy. And I really enjoy it. I'm really glad that I started going. It has definitely been very beneficial for me and very, 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 very helpful for me. But my body is still like, hey girl, something else is going on. Something else is going on. And in the midst of me, talking and working with my therapist, she did mention some anxiety. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess that is what I've been feeling. That's when I realized I was telling myself I was shy. But in a lot of those moments, they were making me anxious. And I was like, oh, I really thought I was shy because of what I was feeling, but I was really anxious about it, which made me not want to do it because my body just automatically goes into shutdown mode. So I'm like, okay, I just got to give myself pep talks, right? And that'll help me. Didn't really help the way I thought it would, but I have also learned how to give myself those pep talks now in a way that does help. So that is something that I have kind of built upon and worked on as well. However, I was still having these issues. So, going to my regular doctor's appointment, because we should be getting ourselves checked up. Our health is important. And I was talking to my doctor again about all the things that I've been experiencing. So, I meet with her, we're talking, she does her typical screenings for new clients, and we're working through everything. And as she's talking to me and I'm talking to her, she was like, have you ever taken medication for anxiety? And I was like, no. I mean, my therapist told me I'm a little anxious, but, I'm in therapy, so I'm working on it. And so she asked if I was open to trying it. Now, mind you, y'all, I'm here for a check-up. But she asked me if I was open to trying it, and I said, you know what? Sure. Was I scared? Was I nervous? Absolutely. 1,000%. But I was also just at a point where I was tired. And if this is something that she felt like would help me with my anxiety, because she said a lot of the things that I was experiencing sounded like anxiety, I said, okay, well, I'll try it. I'll try it. And so I did. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, that first week was rough. I felt like I took a Benadryl and I was just so groggy and sleepy. But I was like, no, I gotta try it. I gotta give it time to work and time to help. And again, in those first few days, I was nervous because I was like, okay, if this is supposed to help manage my anxiety, I don't know how to not be anxious. How am I supposed to function? What is this going to feel like? I felt like it built up a little bit of anxiety in me about not being anxious, right? But as time progressed and I really did test it out, after that first week, and I got over the little, grogginess and the tiredness, I felt pretty good. And I was like, okay, all right, well, let's put this thing to the test for real. So I started going on walks, and I started with just a really short distance, not too far from home. That way, if I did start itching, I could easily get home and, breathe and relax. And then I also wanted to take that note to let my doctor know, hey girl, this didn't work. Let's figure something else out. And I started walking, I had my music playing, so I'm in the zone. And I looked at my Apple Watch to see how far I've gotten, because I'm like, okay, I don't feel anything. I had walked 2 miles. I cannot tell you the last time I had walked 2 miles before that and didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any itching. I didn't feel any pain. It felt normal. I also felt normal. My brain fog was clearing up. I was able to process my thoughts so much better. Even down to my spending habits. I realized I did a lot of anxious spending. I could walk into the store and get exactly what I needed. The moment I knew this was working, when I walked into Target for one thing, got that one thing, and immediately walked out, I said, oh, okay, this might be working, y'all. This might be working. But on a very serious note, I was able to do that walk. I was able to get myself back in the gym. My muscle soreness was regular muscle soreness. I didn't feel like my body was just one giant cramp or just in excruciating pain. And I was able to start sleeping better. I got myself on a great sleep pattern. And a lot of the things that I would typically shut down on or feel overwhelmed in, even when it comes down to speaking in front of people and just presenting and talking and being out in society, felt good. It felt good. It felt better. And like I said, it felt normal. And I was a person who did not know what normal felt like. I just knew that what was normal for me was not what the average normal person was feeling. I knew what I was experiencing wasn't normal, but I didn't know what normal felt like until this. When I tell y'all I could have hugged my doctor, I could have hugged her. I literally could have hugged her and given her the longest hug, because on one end, I really felt like she listened to me and she listened to what I was going through. And as I was talking to her, I could see the wheels turning, right? I could see her processing and thinking. And she really wanted to help me. I could tell she wanted to help me. I could feel that she wanted to help me. I trusted that she wanted to help me. And I'm just so grateful because I feel like I'm now able to navigate my life in such a healthier way. I'm not putting that added stress on myself to be normal or to act like what I think normal is. I don't have to adjust my lifestyle around these random things that just keep happening to my body and I don't know how to explain them. I was also in a space where I was like embarrassed and also nervous to ask for help because again, how do I tell somebody like, "Oh no, I can't walk from here to there with you because I might have an allergic reaction or I might lose feeling in my legs." Like, I don't know. Or, "Oh no, I can't go to this event that requires us to walk far because, it might not work." Like, trying not to miss out on what I felt like were everyday opportunities and fun opportunities because I knew my body just wouldn't let me. And now I'm just like, oh, I really, really feel like I can do it all and I can do anything. And so I'm just really, really grateful and happy for that. And I'm still able to feel like myself. I'm still able to feel my emotions. I'm still able to process my emotions. I know my therapist has a good time listening to some of my stories. But I just think the combination of things that I have found have helped me manage my anxiety so well. And what I didn't realize until I had this talk with my doctor was when my anxiety was manifesting in the very typical ways that it manifests, I wasn't responding to it. Like I wasn't saying, "Oh, alert, let's see what's going on. Let's get this figured out." I was pushing myself through it. I was forcing myself just to just be, to just go. And so I feel like my body said, "Okay, well, we're going to find a way to get you to notice that something is going on in ways that you respond to. And to me, in the ways that I'm trying to tell you, I'm going to get you to listen to me in the ways that I know you already respond to." And for me, I was like, "Oh, sorry, self. I'm going to listen to you from now on. Anything that feel off, weird, not normal, I'm going to listen. I promise. I promise I'm going to listen." But just to not have those things affecting my day-to-day life so much has been very interesting for me to see. And now I am able to really see how much it was affecting me. Like I said, even down to just the way that I handle and manage my emotions now is so different and so much better. And I can appreciate the fact and now understand that I don't have to feel that pressure to be strong. I don't have to, feel that pressure to be resilient. Like, oh my gosh, I made it through this. Like, I can be proud of those moments, but I don't have to feel the pressure to just push through. I can allow myself to be in whatever space I need to be in. I can ask for help. And then I'm also in a space where I am able and willing to work through that. And that's something that was super big for me. I knew a few of the things that were going on with me, and I knew a few methods that would possibly help, but I wasn't in a space where I was actually willing to do the work. Another thing that was important for me to realize is that, okay, yeah, I'm anxious, but that doesn't mean I'm weak. That doesn't mean, that I'm not able to do the things that I want to do. That doesn't mean I'm not able to do the things that I have to do. That just means I need to pay attention to my body when I'm in these moments that I know make me anxious or make me a little overwhelmed or make me feel anything different. Like I need to pay more attention to that. But it doesn't make me weak. It doesn't change anything else about me, who I am, my character, none of that. And two, understanding that my mental health is a part of my overall health, like my health and well-being. We talk a lot about health. We talk about physical health. We're getting to a point where we're able to talk about gut health even more because that is super important. And I know once I get that under control, that would help with a lot of my anxiety and some other issues as well. Of course, we're talking about, the health of women's reproductive rights and reproductive health for women because that is a very important conversation right now. But we also need to make sure that we're talking and thinking about and paying attention to and investing in our mental health because that is just as important as taking care of your body. And if you're taking care of both of those things, you're really taking care of yourself as a whole and as a person. And so for me, like now that I am at a place where I have all of these obscure, random things happening to me, I have all of those under control. Like I really am able to get back to my typical stress relieving, anxiety managing strategies. Again, my therapist, we are locked in. That's my girl. But I can exercise now and actually feel good, and I could feel those endorphins, and it gives me the energy instead of stressing me out or making me more nervous that I'm gonna go into an allergic reaction or that I'm gonna feel this extreme pain the next day. Like I'm able to do all of the things that I love to do that bring me peace and calmness without having to worry about them making me even more anxious or feel even worse. And then even being able to reach out or even being able to have conversations with my friends, with family, just about, anxiety and what I feel and what could be making me more anxious right now than I typically am. And knowing how to manage those things, knowing when I need to step off social media because whatever is going on in current events is adding to my anxiety, knowing when I need to step back and stay in the house instead of going out because I was feeling a little anxious and I need to refresh or I need to give myself that moment to rest. So just being able to say, to be able to advocate for myself and to also be able to help others advocate for themselves as well. Like, hey, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it, and that's okay. Hey, if you want to go to therapy, I support you. Let me know how I can help you and how I can be there for you. But if that's what you want to do, I support it. Go do it. The only person who's gonna truly know what works for you is you, and you just have to try. So to wrap this episode up, I just want to say you are not alone. There is someone out there to listen to you. There is someone out there who can relate to what you are going through. You are not alone. Ask for the help, get the help, and do the work to help yourself. And it's also okay to take it one step at a time. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we allow others in our life so much grace and so much space to learn, to grow, to slow down, to rest, and to reflect and to refresh. And we need to start doing that for ourselves. So allow yourself that grace, allow yourself that space, allow yourself the opportunity to rest, allow yourself the opportunity to heal, and allow yourself the opportunity to grow. And with that, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Girl Listen, the mini podcast. Thank you for sharing this space with me. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video and tune in to the next episode.